Welcome back to Reaction Monday, and we are going back today to some unknown bands and unknown requests. So this has got me thinking that I would like to ask the people who watch these videos on a consistent basis. I have been really pondering something that I'm just not sure I want to do, because I think it's a double-edged sword. So I'm going to need your help in the comments section below to give me your honest opinion, because honestly, I'm torn about it. And I started this channel just because I wanted to do music reactions, have some fun, post some thoughts, different kind of content. As you can see that I've been starting to create. I've been creating it from the beginning, but I've been doing more of it lately. But specifically with the music reactions, we're just getting to a point where there are so many reactions that people want me to do, so many requests, that it's just going to be, with me only doing it on Mondays, like 2 or 3 songs at the most, so once a week, it's just going to be really difficult to get to all these requests. And I'm not expecting to get to all the requests, but I like to try to get as many as I can, because I would like to hear new bands, especially people who are kind of in these genres that are going to give me some good requests like we have today. But because I can't get to all of them, and because the number in the list is just growing bigger and bigger, it's got me thinking that maybe I should start some sort of Patreon or something like that. But just the thought of that, I'm not doing this for money. So I'm like, I don't want to be like a sellout and do it for money, you know? And I don't think I would do it for money. But the reason I would consider starting Patreon or some sort of other whatever affiliate there is, because I've heard a lot of people bitching about Patreon lately for whatever reason. I don't know why. But what it would allow me to do is it would allow me to say, like, okay, if you invest a little bit of whatever, $5 a month or whatever it is for Patreon or whatever they do, I really haven't even researched it at all, so I need to do that. Then that would actually put people's who really like will pay a little bit to get theirs kind of pushed to the top. Then I think that would be maybe a good idea to possibly do that, so that then it kind of makes it easier for me, because it's like, well, here's your request, you don't have any investment involved, so I don't have to worry about your request as much. But these people really care enough to actually invest a little bit into the situation, so therefore I will put your request at the top and I'll do it. But there's now another side to this, and that other side is, now if people actually pay, because my first thought is like, nobody's going to pay for this. But if somebody actually pays for it, and let's say there's like 10 people that pay a month, that requires me to do more freaking videos. And I don't want YouTube to become work. Right now, it's fun. And that's what, from the very beginning, I've always been like, I don't want to make money off of this, because in my opinion, which I'm going to talk about this in my relationship videos, when you start to combine business with passion, I think passion dies. This is, at least for me, it's happened in all the things that I've been passionate about that I turned into business. One being dancing. I worked at a ballroom studio for 2 years teaching professional dancing. I loved dancing. And then when I started having to do it for work to make money, and I was doing it literally like 30 to 40 hours a week, I started loathing dancing. So I just don't want this to become that same thing if I were to do some sort of Patreon or whatever. So the upsides to it is it would help me to like put the requests that people invest in up there, and then it would just be easier for me to choose instead of feeling like I'm kind of missing people or forgetting about certain requests. But the flip side of it is, if I turn this into somewhat of a business, it's going to put more pressure on me. And then if it puts more pressure on me, I might end up losing my love for doing what I'm doing. So again, if you could comment below, what's your thoughts? I'm going to put this in the other videos today that I do, because I really want to think about this and not just make a snap decision. So if you really could, in the comments below, could you please like let me know, do you think this is a good idea? Do you think this is something I should do? Because I've now had 2 or 3 people suggest to me, hey, I would be willing to pay a couple bucks or whatever to get your request or my request at the top of the list. I can understand that. I know that other channels do that. So you guys chime in. I'll probably put a poll. Actually, I'll probably put a poll for you guys to vote and see if like this is a good idea for me to consider or do, or if it's not. So, okay, with that done, what we're going to do today is we're going to get into some of these new bands. I love kind of getting into the bands that not many people request. I love the Hakens. I love the Caligula's Horse, which, by the way, Caligula's Horse was one of those bands that was not really requested a lot that I listened to, and now they're probably my favorite band next with Haken. So I love the major requests like Devin Townsend, Opeth, and then of course Nightwish has a ton of people that have a lot of followers. But I love it when we can discover some new bands that are not really they're like niche bands, right? And that's the way I think that Dream Theater was, and maybe that's why I like it. Is for a long time Dream Theater was like that until they got popular or more popular within the genre. They're still not that popular. So what we're going to do now is a new artist that has also been requested quite a bit, and I don't know anything about this artist, but just from kind of the comments, I get this vibe that it's kind of like a solo artist, like he's a solo guitarist. I could be totally wrong on this, but that's the kind of feel I get when people talk about him in the comments. And I don't know what kind of music's going to be, but usually with solo artists, I mean, I don't know if there's going to be singing in this at all, if it's just going to be kind of like Steve Vai or something like that. I guess we're going to find out. Now, obviously, I'm sure everyone who does reactions to this person is going to do the exact same thing I'm going to do, but I'm just going to go with my confidence and say his name is Plini. And the reason I think it's Plini and not Pliny is because when I teach English to my Korean students, I always tell them when I'm talking about pronunciation. And so it's like there's two major ways we pronunciate the letter I. Now, granted, it's probably not an English name, so I could be totally wrong here. But the letter I is, the long I, which is E, Plini. Or it's the short I, pli, I sound, where you drop it, I. And most people, or at least foreigners who are trying to learn English, they always pronunciate I, typically, most of the time, as E. But I think most of the time in English, when you see an I, especially in the middle of a word, it actually should be pronunciated as a short I, which is I. So I'm just going to take a stab at it and say his name is Plini. Plini, like plenty, but Plini. All right, so the song is called Electric Sunrise. It's so funny when I hear that title, Electric Sunrise, it totally brings back to me one of my favorite, probably my favorite New Age artist. And my favorite New Age artist was, or is, Craig Chaquico. I think is how you say his, I think it's Craig Chaquico, but it looks like Craig Chaquico. So I love Craig Chaquico. A lot of his music is very jazzy, kind of acoustic jazz, acoustic electric jazz. So if you've never heard of Craig Chaquico and you like the new age sort of kind of sound, he's really good at guitar. I mean, he's really good. He used to play for Jefferson Starship, if I remember, a long time ago, but then he did solo, and I actually saw him in Denver, Colorado a while ago when I was living in Denver. And I love his stuff. Sometimes it gets a little bit cheesy, but for the most part, I mean, his new age ambiance. I'm hoping that Plini is kind of that sound. And if I'm saying his name wrong, you can correct me in the comments below. But let's get to it. Electric Sunrise. That totally reminds me of Craig Chaquico's kind of titles for his songs, like Native Tongue and stuff. All right, let's do it. Melodic. Ooh. There's that extra added. Nine eight. definitely new agey so far. Got that. Epic. Got that Devin Townsend full sound of chords. Yeah, this is definitely sounds like a solo artist. Steve Vai, Petrucci. Yes. I like how the guitar's doing this, and the other part's in halftime. Oh my gosh. Ooh. I love the layers that are going on. Boom. This has got like a very Caligula's horse feel now. I knew that was coming. It's got you on the edge of your seat. Yeah, see that he's using those stops to get you like building up with that, to keep it like something's coming. But I do hope it doesn't do this the whole song. I hope he like actually has like a smooth part as well. He had it for a second and then he stopped. Ooh, it's beautiful. Nice pinch harmonics. There we go. Build. This is driving music. Oh, bum bum. Beautiful lead into that epicness. Lots of time changes, but it still keeps you engaged. Oh, wow. Like it? Building. Great ending, great transition to the ending. Sorry, I ruined it with my voice. I like the way it ended from like the beginning. A quick short story. Hell yeah. There's specific points about this that are amazing. Number one, though, the best way I can describe this is in the vein, kind of like I had suspicions of before I listened to it. This is trip music. This is music that when you're driving 3, 4, 5 hours in the car, especially at night, I think this is great night music to kind of keep you awake, but also kind of put you in a nice mode of driving through the night. This is just like Craig Chaquico in a different vein. This is more rocky, more progressive, whereas his is more jazzy. This reminded me actually a lot of one of my other favorite driving artists, which is, I've mentioned in other videos, Gary Hoey. Gary Hoey's Animal Instinct will be forever burned in my mind, traveling from school, which is about 3.5 hours from Columbus, Ohio, back and forth going through there from the weekends here and there. I would just listen to Gary Hoey. And Gary Hoey is just like this, except he's more blues rock. This is more progressive rock. This is more in the Steve Vai vein and the Petrucci vein. Petrucci's not a solo artist, I know that, but he's done solo albums and he's been on G3. So Eric Johnson, it's kind of in that vein, and it's just the thing that I think stands out most about what I heard here is his ability to layer is better than Steve Vai. Steve Vai is just kind of like your straight playing and like good melodies. This is like layers of technology among to fulfill. And when I said Devin Townsend deep chords, Devin Townsend is the king at like bringing this deep sound to the track. These extra layers that are in the song do that. It's like adding technology along with other tracks and other kind of ideas to bring a full sound that is a great experience. And with that, his stops are awesome. Like, it's so tight, and he does a great job, like I said, of keeping you enthralled with the stops, because sometimes you can do too many stops and then you get lost because it's just like too much action all the time. It's just kind of like, okay, find some sort of melody to keep going back to, like a chorus kind of thing, a home base, instead of just all these stops. But he doesn't do that in this song, and it's short enough that it's just like a short story, that it's kind of like a teaser. It's a teaser to his novels. And this definitely makes me interested in hearing more by him, because I'm definitely impressed. This is music that I think would, when I get sentimental, which is quite often, I can listen to this and pop it in and let my mind kind of just go, but also kind of get lost in the freaking awesome beats. And the transitions were great. I think it was put together well. I mean, there's nothing really I can complain about this song at all. This was superb writing, superb musical ability, and superb technique, superb execution. So it's just all around good song, and it was short and sweet, though I would like to hear his more, not 20-minute songs, but I would like to hear more of a 10, 12-minute song and see how he kind of takes these ideas and kind of lets them flow. That's what I'm looking forward to next. So I'm definitely listening to this dude more. He's, from this song, gone quite far up the list for my taste. So as always, like and subscribe. Watch the other videos if you can, and let me know in the comments below some things that you would like to see, what I talked about at the beginning. So see you guys later next week. Peace.